Today on Mysterious Morsels, we're talking about Little Christmas. What is Little Christmas? I'm glad you asked. So, Little Christmas is basically January 6th. That's the quick answer. Why? Well, the Magi kind of got lost. I think they just got a slow start. I don't really know. One time I happened to read what I thought was a very funny joke, and I wish I could credit who said it, but I heard this one that said three wise women would have showed up early, cleaned the stable, and made a casserole, which I got a kick out of. But anyhow, three wise men. So the Magi, aka the wise men. So let's have our first pop cultural detour. Who are the Magi? The protectors, if you will. So if you ever watch Brendan Fraser in The Mummy, um, that guy, oh, what is his name? O'Dare, not O'Dare, Oda Finn. Listen to me. Got SVU in the brain. Gotta love Finn. Um, Oder Fuhr, I think. Anyhow, nice guy. I don't even know what nationality he is, but I love him, and he has played Egyptians, Arabians, Puerto Ricans. He's just got a very malleable uh, repertoire to play, but he's a really nice guy, and he plays the Magi that help Brendan Fraser and all the gang that's with him in the first and second Mummy. And they dress in black and they have little horses with the little tassels, and they're in Egypt protecting the tombs. So that just happened to be the example that if you're trying to think about who we're talking about. But the Magi were all the kings. They were literally we three kings. So the kings were showing up to pay homage, if you will, pay homage to JC, and they were all gifts of frankincense and myrrh and gold, and they showed up late on January 6th. Now, are we really arguing that December 25th is the real date? Probably not, but not getting into that one today. However, there was Persian, and Arabian, and an Indian king, and they all showed up. And I had done another podcast about this like a year ago, so you can tune into that one to find out about Balthazar and Melchior and all those guys and Omar. But they all came with gifts, and they showed up, and they showed up late. So Little Christmas is often celebrated in other parts of the world. Now, I have to say, the Latino culture really celebrates Little Christmas, so much so that that's a day to get gifts. That's really like the big day. Santa, aka Papa Noel, sort of is a newer thing. So he's there, but he was never really the big deal. So December 25th and having like Santa gifts is kind of a newer thing to the Latino population, and they really did a big Christmas, if you will, on January 6th. They also continue to celebrate all throughout January into February. So totally different world as far as like kids being off from school, parents being off from work. Like there's a lot more time at the holidays. It's not just like quick, you get a week or 10 days and see ya. They're off a while. And there's tons of pageantry and masses and parades and different decorations and things that happen. And again, if you listen to the podcast and you've heard of some of the other ones that we talked about, but it is amazing how many different traditions and things happen. And one of them is that eventually the kings gave way to king cakes. Now, Mardi Gras, you'll see this, and it's kind of a French Creole thing too. It shows up more in March, but the idea of a king cake, el rosco, is the idea that there's a little baby. Sometimes they put a jelly bean, not a real baby, just to be clear, no babies were harmed in the making of this podcast. So it's a little plastic baby that they'll put inside the cake. They'll bake it into the rosca. It's a circular cake, and it's very flavorful. It's decorated often with the wise men colors, which, by the way, are coincidental to Mardi Gras. So you see a lot of the green, the purple, and the gold. And you get a piece of cake, and then whoever gets the little baby or jelly bean, sometimes they'll put a jelly bean in your piece of the rosca, is like, oh, you're the prize winner, and you are the one that's supposed to host the following year's parties and the end of the winter season. Now, for us, speaking about like Northeast America, in Northeast U.S., it's pretty cold until March, honestly. But depending on where you are in Latin America, and of course, if you're under the equator, then everything's backwards from us. So you have tropical and not temperate climate. But it could be you're going into winter. But for purposes of our discussion, assume it's like winter is December, January, February. So February 2nd, I believe, is the end technically. And even though Groundhog Day, haha, that's not what they're celebrating. That's usually like the end party, if you will, of winter. And that person who got the baby or the jelly bean in the cake and the rosca is responsible for having the party the following year. The other thing that they do, and there's several things, I'm sort of paraphrasing here, but some other things that they do, they'll have a nativity decoration. Sometimes they have a live nativity with real animals. They'll also have parades that go through the towns, and then later on, like to that January to February time, they'll also have a small child, so it's like their own baby Jesus, if they will. They'll have like a decoration where they put a little scene and a manger scene, and it's almost like a competition, but it's meant for little kids. They'll have a doll, and you can go buy different dolls and buy outfits for them and different crowns and things like that. So that's something else that happens. So there's just so many rich traditions that happen in the Latino community all throughout winter that your average American kid just really wouldn't know too much about, because it's like, oh, Santa, 25th, cool. Maybe you do something on the 24th, but I mean, a lot of Latinos too, they open presents and they have like a bigger deal on the 24th, because it's more about the build up and the arrival. And then at like midnight, that's why a lot of midnight masses, you'll actually have like the celebration. You stay up really late and then you sleep. And Christmas is sort of like, it's like anticlimactic. And then the 6th, you get presents, if you will, again. So it's just one of those things that I thought was interesting, and not everybody would know. So it's just some cultural fun facts for you. And Little Christmas is always January 6th, and it just the way it happens to fall. Some people do celebrate that as big a deal as Christmas. It's just if you're living in the U.S., it's not going to be a day off and time for people to celebrate with families, but certainly you could do that on your own. And then the end of winter is just generally somewhere around February 2nd, although not for real, but that's what is traditionally looked at. So it's sort of the end of the dark part, the nasty part, the dense part of the cold and everything, and ushers in a new spring. And then that begs the questions about Lent and Easter. So it's predominantly Catholic country, so you see a lot of that with the influence of religion in there. But it's kind of neat. I always leave my um, decorations and things up until January 6th. It's just I always have, but I'm not one of those people that has a tree in February. I'm not that crazy, but I will leave lights and things until the 6th, and then after that I pull stuff down.
If you like this type of content, scare the like button into turning blue and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Thanks for watching.